monetary intervention in an individual's life will not make any impact in the long term.
Yes, welcome to this episode on Noble TV Live. Presently, we are discussing issues concerning the palliatives in Nigeria because this has become a daily issue to be discussed on our social media, the conventional media, and all that. So, but presently, today we want to concentrate on the 5 billion naira palliative to be distributed amongst the citizens of the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital. With me to discuss the issue actually is Mr. Gray Amona, a seasoned journalist. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for the privilege.
Yeah, thank you so much. Now, we have had about 500 billion naira to be spent as palliatives, giving the citizens, some, vulnerables, 12 million of them, 8,000 naira at a point. Then we have heard of other palliatives measures that the federal government was saying they were putting in place. But recently, they just came up to tell us that they have already set aside a whopping sum of 180 billion to be shared amongst the 36 states and the federal capital. That amounts to 5 billion to one state, plus 5 lorry loads or truck loads of rice, and 40 billion worth of grains, that is maize and all that. These have been put in place now, and some states we hear are already implementing it. I don't know if you have an idea, and if you have, what is your take on this palliative measure as spelled out by the President of Nigeria?
Well, the modalities, are not fully embedded, in the memory.
Yeah.
For now, the details are not, they've not actually reached that level of clarity relative to our own perception or our observation. But, Comrade Milo, when you provide palliatives on a short-term basis, whether it's explicit or implicit, it's on a short-term basis. Monetary intervention in an individual's life will not make any impact in the long term, because economic matters are, Old Time magazine says that they're bearish, they're bullish like a bull. Economic matters recur. They are not confined to a particular time frame. They recur. That is why employment after a given number of years, when things come to a head, you summarize the relationship and the social contract by way of retirement, you are given another facility by way of a pension. That means your economic life is seen as a holistic thing, not a temporary short-term thing. I'm afraid government is miserably short-sighted. Let me use that word. Short-sighted.
So in other words, instead of looking at palliatives, you are rather suggesting government should put in place a permanent measure to ensure Nigerians are stopped from suffering whatever pains they are suffering as a result of health subsidy removal.
Yes, the monetary intervention may be there, but it will be complemented by putting in place a facility that brings something like that constantly regulates the economic interest of the population. And that facility is how you revive the structures that guarantee the meeting the people's needs.
Are you talking about the refineries that are
in addition to refineries, put in place? Yes, that may take some time, but it should come in complementary function. Complementary, as in PLE, complementary function to add to the palliatives, because you have a whole. There was a time, that was in 1978, when interestingly or incidentally, the immediate past president was a Federal Commissioner for Petroleum Resources. 2.8 billion got disappeared from the coffers.
A long time ago. Yes, a long time ago. Yeah.
So my eldest brother, the calculation that came up was, if that money was shared, among Nigerians, each Nigerian could have gotten at least #1 million.
No, but the calculation was wrong.
No, the calculation was based. You're faulting the economics of that calculation is probably it derives from the fact that you are conscious of the present value.
No, I'm looking at arithmetic now.
Yes.
2.8 million.
Yes.
Divided by, let's say, assuming we're even 2.8.
It was 2.8 billion.
No, million. That's Buhari's time. It was $2.8 million. When I remember.
So the dollar, it was not calibrated in dollars then.
Okay.
What disappeared from the coffers of the NNPC, it was calibrated in naira.
Okay.
Because then the money economy was assertive in relating to the valuation power of the naira. Because then the naira was about the third or the strongest currencies in the world. Yes. Okay, so coming back to the present, you provide palliatives and complement that provision with a facility, reactivation, or if you like, activation that will complement what you have, or supplement the effects or benefits of what you have provided.
Okay, now, great. You see, some persons are saying, that the budget of the federal government of Nigeria for 2023 stands at 21 trillion naira. 21 trillion naira, 21.something trillion naira. Now, Dangote refinery was estimated to have been built with about 8.6 trillion naira.
Yes.
Now, if the federal government is to revive any of just one of them, maybe, and some persons are saying, why not, go revive the moribund refineries?
Yes.
And assuming the federal government now say, okay, let us go revive it. 500 billion, because in fact you have 1 billion naira into 1,000 places to get a trillion.
Yes.
Now, if the federal government is to revive the refineries now and using a Dangote's, the cost of establishing as a test case now, and assuming the federal government says, because nobody knows how much it's going to take a federal government now to revive any of the refineries as well, clamoring. Now, assuming now there's a quotation and they say, okay, the refinery will be revived at maybe the cost of 3 trillion naira.
Yes.
Do you think the budget of the federal government of Nigeria 2023 will be able to take care of that refinery?
It will not go the impact will be minimal. That tells you that, all of us collectively are going to arrive at, a concentric point. That is, there is economic stress, at the budgetary level, at the experiential level, and institutional. At the budgetary level, you have now your analysis helps to signpost a dilemma that will face policymakers. No matter the projection that will go into reviving the refineries, it will be a far cry from the actual ideal point that will solve the problem.
Yes, sir.
But that does not actually diminish our observation of the fact that providing palliatives that are mainly of a pecuniary nature will solve the problem. Because when the beneficiary has disposed of the rewards of the palliative, it returns to penury. You understand?
Yes, okay. Now, before we go, now the 5 billion naira have been given.
Yes.
States have already started receiving theirs.
Yes.
And in fact,
we have not even factored one thing, We have not factored the distribution channel.
Yes.
No, I
want to ask you now because you have to give us an idea now of how you think the governments, because Soludo is one of the members of the ad hoc committee handling this palliative distribution. Now, I would like to get your own view now on how, for instance, a state like Delta can safely distribute its own palliative now in such a manner that will not end up the way we did in 2019, 2020.
Now, the distribution channel will rely on representative structures, in the political system. Representative structures are people that represent particular constituencies in the legislature. And people also represent that constituencies in the executive. Now, you see, that brings us to a fundamental point. Is the Nigerian selfless enough to actually put aside personal pursuits and be egalitarian enough, be collectivistic enough to ensure that what goes to the people, is not tampered with? That's the fear. So I'm already telling you that the political class is not trusted.
What can the government do? What can we do as individuals? Even the poor, the rich, and all of us, what can we do to ensure the policy is successful?
Hypothetically speaking, let's get to the first point. That is to capture the working class. You can do that through the emolument structure. Formal salary payment and other.
No, we're looking at palliatives for the vulnerables. The palliative is not for the.
And I'm coming to a point.
Okay.
I'm starting with the first point.
Okay.
Then the second one, which will even be more crisis laden, to capture the entire gamut of the vulnerables.
Okay.
The vulnerables, first of all, the elderly, women, that also includes widows, then children. You understand? So the parameters to be employed, usually are loose, because it is easy to capture members of the working class. Then for the vulnerables, you now use the traditional structures of contact or access to each community, the traditional leadership. Provide these palliatives, so distribute them according to the extended family structure that is existing. That's the only way out.
Okay. Yes. Now, we're going to end it here now. Yes. But summarily, I want to believe that what we have suggested now is that for palliative to be successfully distributed in states, including Delta State, the government should maybe employ one of them, maybe going through the structured civil service. And go through the traditional settings, that is in villages, and get the communities to be involved. Identify, identify those of you who are actually entitled to this kind of palliative, because we are looking out for people who cannot, as it were, help themselves. So the community should come up with the list. And therefore, do you have any time frame for this government to do it? Can you say maybe like between now and before the distribution starts, or they will be getting the list as the distribution is going on?
A more realistic way to actually relax the constraint, the material and existential constraints that will be involved in drawing up a time frame, is to regularize the distribution. A particular format, put in place, then another distribution process. That's the only way. Otherwise, if it's just done just in that kind of holistic manner, it will the problem is like coming back to square one. You understand? That's why I say a very effective channel where the vulnerables will be captured is to use the extended family channel, using the traditional structures of leadership.
So viewers, anywhere you are, you have heard the views of Mr. Gray and Mona. So if you are vulnerable, maybe you have to go close to your community. And for you as a leader in the House of Assembly, House of Representatives, as a member of the executive, help the government also to reach out to your own community, so that your community will be able to fine-tune and get out the people who are actually entitled to these palliatives, because we cannot do the same thing the same way all the time and expect different results. We don't want to end up the way we ended up in 2019 and 2019. So here we are ending the discussion today on palliatives, 5 billion naira palliatives for states in Nigeria. If you have your comment, please do send them in. Comment, share, and also press the notification button, and we can get your views, and you will remain one of the first people to actually get our points anytime we discuss issues like this. Thank you very much for viewing.